So welcome. Thank you for joining this webinar, which is for prospective members of the Center for Executive Coaching and any professional who's thinking about getting into executive and leadership coaching. One of the hardest things to do as you make your decision is to navigate the landscape of coaching designations, particularly the International Coaching Federation. And so the point of today is exactly what you see on the screen. I hope that by the end we'll make coaching designations, if not simple, at least simpler for you. So we're going to talk, I'm going to give you an overview in this webinar. It should just take about an hour. Overview of executive coaching, what it is, what the opportunities are. What's the International Coach Federation? Do you even need an ICF designation? What about another designation that we offer called the Board Certified Coach designation through a different third-party organization? So I'll take you through that, and then for those who are interested, stick around. We'll talk about how the Center for Executive Coaching can help you get these designations the simplest way possible. All right. I'll take questions at the end as well, and by all means, reach out to me anytime with any questions you might have. All right. Here's where I'm coming to you from, just so you know, and there's a reason I'm sharing this with you. I'm on an island called Palm Island in the Gulf Coast of Florida, a little bit south of Sarasota, if you know the area, north of Fort Myers and Naples. And you have to get there via car ferry. You can see here the car ferry going back and forth to the island. The reason I'm sharing this information with you is that I have a coaching practice that's doing very well. In fact, as we move more and more to online communication, I would say that my coaching practice is doing better than ever. And if I can do it from an island, you can do it from anywhere. This is just a great opportunity for professionals to get into this field and be not just a coach, but an expert, sharing your expertise from anywhere. Instead of having to be local, driving to clients, you can have clients anywhere in your country, anywhere in the world. It's just a terrific opportunity. More than ever before, clients expect and are very open to having coaching sessions via phone, via Zoom. And so it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be a solo professional, or if you're an internal coach, to be an internal coach. The real way I like to introduce the Center for Executive Coaching is through what our members say about us. We're very unique. We're not an academic program like universities. We're not a life coaching program. We're very much focused on already successful professionals who are looking for something that takes them to the next level of fulfillment, flexibility, significance, and impact. We train both internal and external coaches. Here's some reports from some of our graduates who are external coaches. Here's a recent one. My business has really accelerated since attending the Center for Executive Coaching 12 months ago. I'm now coaching 19 leaders, 40% CEOs, 40% emerging senior level leaders, and 20% family business. Interestingly, one is a bishop overseeing 240 churches. It's working. Dave Baker, within 6 months of graduating from your program, I signed a $250,000 contract for coaching the executive team of a manufacturing company. Terry Jackson, with the help of your solutions, I've signed a 3-year coaching engagement with a health system. He shared with me the dollar amount. I won't share it with you, but it is fantastic. It's better than what I do with most of my clients, and I'm a bit envious of Terry. I'm newer to coaching, and I've closed my first great deal, and it's very close to a $100,000 agreement. Thank you, thank you, thank you 100 times. That's how we measure success, okay? And that's one of the things that very much sets us apart from other programs that are out there. Let's talk about the executive and leadership coaching market. That will lead into whether or not you need a coaching designation, okay? So executive and leadership coaching, I believe it's a wonderful time to get in. It used to be the Wild West in this profession, and now executive coaching has been proven as a professional development opportunity, and as a result, it's experiencing continued growth. There's been a number of return on investment studies. You can Google them, you'll see them. There's a lot in the literature showing up to $8 return per dollar invested in coaching when combined with training. And this makes intuitive sense, right? That the follow-up of coaching would enhance the results of training. But when combined with training, clients often see 4 times the results of training alone, because people don't just leave the training and forget. They're accountable for implementing. So it continues to grow as an accepted form of leadership and professional development. Well over half the Fortune 500 companies rely on coaching as a standard professional development tool, and that continues to grow. You, as a coach, can coach leaders at all levels, right? So we call ourselves the Center for Executive Coaching. However, what we teach applies to leaders at all levels, right? C-suite, senior leaders, middle managers, up-and-coming talent or high potentials, first-time managers, those in career transition, as well as entrepreneurs and business owners. So there's a wide range of people you can coach depending on your interest, your comfort level, and frankly, the types of people that you end up attracting. You can coach in all different types of organizations: large, mid-sized, small, on the for-profit side, nonprofits of all sizes. My own practice started with nonprofit coaching, and currently my sweet spot is the growing mid-sized company. We have a number of our alumni coach at the government level, federal, state, and local, educational institutions, whether K through 12 or higher education. And you can coach solo professionals as well. And there's many, many situations where you can bring value to a client, right? There's certainly, I want to be a better leader. That is general professional development, how to help people communicate and influence with more impact. Some leaders have a behavioral blind spot. That is, they're perhaps what have been called brilliant jerks in Silicon Valley, or the disruptive physician, somebody who is a high performer and could be even better if they could just eliminate this one behavioral blind spot that they have, some rough edges. You can coach clients to shift perceptions that might be holding them back, to resolve conflict, whether it's a conflict they have or they're tolerating or enabling conflicts on their own team or in their organization. A big area of coaching is engaging employees, how to coach managers and leaders to create an organization where employees are engaged and loyal, leading teams, navigating change, planning and executing strategy. That is a very ripe area for coaching. It used to be the domain of consultants. A coaching model works very powerfully, and indeed we have a wonderful methodology for this. This is one of the bread and butter areas of coaching for me, along with navigating change, influence, and engaging employees. Oh, and most recently, success in a new role. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of calls from people who are in new roles, moving up, say, from COO to CEO, or interim presidents that want to be sure they succeed. And that's a nice area of coaching, a good situation. Creating a high-performing culture, developing a pipeline of leaders, and these days especially, a lot of leaders are dealing with overwhelm through multiple priorities or having to be flexible and resilient. And coaching is a wonderful profession to help with these challenges in these situations. There are also almost unlimited niches. Okay, some of the top areas of coaching I'm seeing today: technology, scientific, and clinical leaders. Why? These areas are strong, they're growing. Almost anything technology and healthcare sees continued growth in professional development, because you have a lot of people in these areas that are brilliant at whatever they studied. They have deep subject matter expertise, but they're not necessarily leaders. They often lack some of the critical skills of leadership so that they can get their ideas accepted throughout the organization, engage their team, recruit top talent, and so on. Professional service firms and knowledge workers, great area for coaching, right? A lot of consulting firms, law firms, other professional service firms have issues. They have issues developing the next generation of leaders, new partners. They have conflicts. They're trying to create a culture that makes them a magnet for talent. Success in a new role is one of the top areas. As I said, most of the clients I have right now are looking to me for support in some sort of new role that they have. Owners of growing businesses, especially those that are growing so rapidly that the owner needs coaching. They feel trapped in the business. They haven't put in the systems and structures to make the business successful. Family businesses are always huge. You know, in the United States, something like 2/3 of all businesses are family businesses. I'm coaching the heir apparent of $1 billion family business right now, and it's just really interesting to talk through the issues beyond the business issues. Financial services, banks, insurance, fintech, nonprofits and education, they face many challenges today with budgets, raising funds, engaging their people. A great area of coaching, a great niche is military leaders and returning military. We have quite a few of our alumni focusing in that area. The military is increasingly open to coaching. They see it as an opportunity. I've trained a number of military leaders to be internal coaches. And returning military always has some issues with transitions that coaching can help. Teams is an evergreen area of coaching. We have a wonderful team coaching methodology, coaching high potentials and up and coming talent, and any kind of change initiative. Change often gets stuck. And you can coach leaders and their teams to get unstuck. They often need an outsider to come in and help them. So I hope this gives a good overview of coaching, who to coach, what to coach on, where to coach. Okay, so with that, the question that we get asked all the time is, do I need an ICF designation? And then how do I go about getting one? It seems to be a bit of a hairball, a bird's nest to navigate. And so I want to unpack or untangle this for you. First of all, what is the ICF, or International Coaching Federation? It's an association for coaches. Long ago, they were formed by some of the largest, at that time, I would say, life coaching schools in the industry. And what they've done is create a professional association that advocates for the coaching profession. And they've done a terrific job marketing their designations, right? If you go to HR of large organizations, they'll have heard of the ICF and they'll expect coaches to have an ICF designation. Where they get complicated is that they have 3 different designations for coaches, and at least for the first 2, they have 3 different ways to get them. And so bear with me for a few minutes, and I think I'm going to simplify this for you so that it's easier than it's ever been. The ACC is their first designation. To get that, you need 60 hours of training, live training, plus 10 hours of mentor coaching, 70 hours total. This confuses a lot of people when they go to the ICF website. They think they only need the 60 hours. You always need mentor coaching with any designation that the ICF offers. In addition, you need 100 hours of coaching experience. So remember, with the ICF, there's always going to be 2 buckets. One bucket is your training hours. A second bucket is your coaching experience hours. Some percentage of that coaching experience hours needs to be paid. Sometimes it's 75%, sometimes it's 70%, depending on the economy and what's going on. And included in paid hours is barter coaching. If you coach another coach an hour and they coach you an hour, you get 1 hour of paid coaching for doing that, okay? But anyway, the ACC requires fewer hours of training, fewer hours of coaching experience than the next one, the PCC. Most coaches who want to make a serious go of coaching want to work towards their PCC. For this, you need 100 hours of training. That includes 10 hours of mentor coaching, right? So 90 plus 10 equals that 100. And here you need 500 hours of coaching experience, okay? So the PCC requires more. Now you can get your ACC with that 100 live training hours, and I'm going to make the case to do that in a moment. You'll see why, and that's going to simplify things tremendously for you if you do that. Their third designation is for overachievers. It's the MCC, generally for those who want to be mentor coaches. It's like 2,000 coaching hours, 200 training hours. To me, you're into the realm of diminishing returns there unless you are just some sort of overachiever or want to be a mentor coach, which is somebody who can do that full time, mentor other coaches for the ICF. About 20,000 coaches worldwide, probably much more than that now, it keeps growing, have received an ICF designation of some sort or another, okay? So that's what the ICF is. There's also a second organization that's growing that, for those of you who have a master's degree or higher, might be of interest, because this organization, it's called the Center for Credentialing and Education. They do board certifications of professionals, social workers, psychologists, and coaches. And their certification is called the Board Certified Coach certification, and it's easier to get because they give you credit for having higher education. You need a master's degree or higher in an approved field. Most of their fields are approved. Typically, they're looking for social sciences, psychology, an MBA, law degree, MD degree can all apply. You need only 60 hours of training here, and they're not as strict about live versus recorded training. And you only need 30 hours of coaching experience. If you have a degree, a master's in psychology or counseling or a PhD in those, you only need 30 hours of training. So they give you a lot of respect for having advanced education. And this program is included in every single one of our certification programs. You don't have to pay us any more for this. Okay? And what happens here is we provide verification when you apply. We'll sign your application, and then you can then sit for their exam. Okay, so in my opinion, these are the two most valid third-party organizations that offer designations. If in doubt, the ICF is always going to be better known. They've just won. They've won the marketing game. They've become the 800-pound gorilla out there, even though there are plenty of other, schools that offer just their own certification, as do we. But the ICF has done a wonderful job marketing. They also have done a great job with their professional standards for coaches. They have a nice set of core competencies that define what coaching is. And they have chapters so that coaches can get together. They have conferences. And so they're a pretty good advocate. However, the question is, do you actually need one or don't you? If you are asking this question, I suggest you wait. You don't have to answer the question now. The way our program is set up is you can start with our core distance learning program and get 90% of what you need. You get 90 of the 100 hours. You can get your coaching experience hours, and you can simply add the 10 hours of mentor coaching if the market tells you that you should have one. In other words, if you're not getting the engagements you thought you would because you don't have an ICF designation. So if in doubt, just wait. It takes time to get this anyway. It's not something you need to decide right away. I will say that 100% of people come to our program, the Center for Executive Coaching, because we're accredited with the ICF. But about 60% actually follow through and get their ICF designation. Why? Because the rest realize they don't need it. They're doing just fine as an internal coach or with certain type of clientele that doesn't care about the ICF. So it's not a decision you need to make right up front. In general, as you can see on the screen, these are the types of coaches who will want the ICF designation, okay? If you are a pure coach, by pure coach, I mean, this is all you do. You just coach. You don't train, you don't facilitate, you don't consult, right? Most of the successful so-called coaches I know provide a variety of services to their clients. They want to be a trusted advisor. But if you're a pure coach, you just go through human resources and you specialize in large organizations. You want to work at the Fortune 500 level, you're going to need an ICF designation, okay? I don't advocate for that model, by the way. I think that's a commodity strategy, right? There's 500 or even 2,000 global 2,000 firms, but there's millions of small to mid-sized companies where you can go right to the decision maker. They will have a bigger budget because they have a consulting budget, not a professional development budget. And they want more than just coaching. And that's one of the models we teach here. But if you're a pure coach, you want to work with big organizations, and you're going to go through HR, you better have an ICF designation. If you're a coach and you're going to be working with credential-focused industries, these are things like hospital systems, higher education, and the federal government, you're going to need an ICF designation. For instance, to work with the Department of Defense, they generally say you need an ICF designation or the equivalent. If you happen to be visiting from a country today, if you're on our webinar or listening to the recording and you're from a country that has a more formal culture than say the United States, and here I'm thinking Europe, Canada, Asia, just about any other country, the ICF is going to be very much in demand. And we get a lot of coaches, they say, you know, I probably don't need an ICF designation, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I just feel better about having a third-party designation, right? There's a certain psychological aspect to having a designation from the best recognized organization. The ICF has done studies about earnings and found that coaches with ICF designations tend to earn more. And if someone asked me, should I get a BCC or an ICF, what I would say is with our program, the BCC is included. You're going to do all the work you need for the board certified coach designation along the way if you qualify for it. So you might as well do it. Quite frankly, the ICF carries more weight in the market right now, in my opinion. And that's largely because only a tiny percentage of people have master's degrees or higher compared to the ICF. Also, the ICF is an advocacy group, and so they have chapters and they're actively marketing the value of coaching. Now, here's the caveat. You probably don't need an ICF designation if you plan on working with the vast majority of organizations and where the biggest market is. And that is the small or mid-sized organizations. In the United States alone, there's millions of them. There's millions of them. And I love this market. This is my market. Why? Because I can go straight to the decision maker. Often HR is a more transactional, less strategic group, right? So I work directly with the decision makers. It's a much shorter life cycle to make the sale. They have a much bigger budget versus HR coaching budgets. It's a wonderful place to be, and most coaches end up here, and that's terrific. This is the place to be, I believe, because then we can offer lots of things: retreats, facilitated solutions, assessments, consulting, or just coaching if that's all they want. So if this is your market, that small to mid-size, nonprofit, for-profit, educational institution, you might just wait. And that's really the message I want to give you. If you're in doubt, our program lets you start without the added cost. It's $2,500 more right now to add the ICF to anything that we have. You don't have to make that decision now. You can accumulate live training hours and add the final piece later on if needed. So as we say a lot, let the market tell you. If you already have an ICF designation like an ACC, you can come to us and get the training hours needed to complete the training you need for the PCC. Just reach out. We actually give scholarships to coaches who have significant education from another coach training school. So let's get to the requirements. You can see the ACC on the left side of the screen, the PCC on the right side of the screen. So technically, for the ACC, what's required is 60 hours of live training plus 10 hours of ICF mentor coaching. I'm going to recommend something different. I'm going to recommend that you join a full ACTP. That's what we are, accredited or approved coach training provider. That means you take the full 125 hours of training required for your PCC, 25 self-study, 100 live. I'll get to that in a minute. But there's a good reason to add the extra 30 hours of training. That's all you're really doing. You're just adding 30 hours of training. Why? Because if you don't do it this way, the other ways to apply to the ICF are going to force you to send 2 recordings of your coaching. You see, with our program, we send the recordings to the ICF so they make sure we're up to standards. Our students, our members, don't have to. If you go this path, I've heard that it can take as long as 3 months or more for the ICF to review your recordings. In that period of time, you could complete the 30 additional training hours and be done with it and not have to submit them any recordings. It's also quite subjective. You know, if you get a reviewer that has a particular philosophy and you're not demonstrating that philosophy, you could get dinged and have to resubmit. Also, with the ACC designation, you have additional continuing educational requirements that you don't have with the PCC. You have to renew your mentor coaching every 3 years. And so you can avoid that if you go the full ACTP route and go for the PCC over time. Also, if you complete the full ACTP, you have an easy path to upgrade to the PCC later. You don't have to do more training. Once you have those 100 hours with us and your ACTP certificate, you're done. So I would make a very strong case that even though the ICF has multiple ways to apply, one of them is much simpler than the other. And in fact, just to drive home the case, here's our certificate. When you complete 125 hours of training with us, 25 self-study, 100 live. Live means you join our webinars or one of our now virtual seminars. You get the certificate. This is all you have to do. You just apply to the ICF and you hand in this certificate. You also need a log of your coaching experience hours that they may or may not ask for, right? With privacy regulations, my understanding is they don't ask for that, but they reserve the right to audit you. And you're done. There's none of this submitting recordings and transcripts of recordings and all of the things that they require. Further with the ACC, again, you need 100 coaching experience hours. That's different than training hours. Bartering with other coaches counts as paid hours. When you join our program, there's a section in your member area called Coaches Who Want to Match with Other Coaches. And in fact, we have some coaches who will lead a day or a half day, sort of a coaching marathon, a coachathon, where our members get together and coach each other to accumulate these hours. So we match you up with other coaches through our member area, through our LinkedIn group, and sometimes on our live webinars, members are also connecting. The PCC requires 100 hours of live training. And again, even if you're going for the ACC, I recommend that 100 hours of live training, which includes the 10 hours of ICF mentor coaching. You also need 25 hours of self-study. In our case, that's easy. We have a textbook that's 425 pages that you can read. We have over 1,000 pages of tools and tons of resources in our member area for self-study. In addition, you're going to need 500 coaching experience hours. 70 to 75%, depending on the year, has to be paid. The rest can be pro bono, but paid again includes barter. So you can start with the ACC and get that additional 400 coaching experience hours. If you do it within 3 years, you don't have to pay us another dollar for training. Well, you don't have to pay us another dollar for training regardless, but you also don't need more mentor coaching. I strongly recommend the ACTP, the 125 hours, no matter which designation you're going for. It will save you time and money and hassle. It's the most efficient way to complete the PCC because you just send in our certificate. You don't need to send in any recordings. You can start with the ACC and upgrade to the PCC. And again, it is simply the most cost-effective way to do that. It seems like it takes more training hours, but based on what our members have told us who haven't gone this way, they regret it. Okay, it just takes more hassle. If you've, with all respect to the ICF, they're a volunteer organization. They're often overwhelmed with calls. If you've tried to reach them and get answers, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. So with that, I want to shift to how you can get your ICF or BCC designation with the Center for Executive Coaching. The BCC actually is quite easy. We give you a spreadsheet to track your training according to the BCC core competencies, and then we validate your application. We'll sign off on your application to them. They'll give you a reading list for additional study. You'll take their test. With the ICF, we are an ACTP. Okay, I think if you're going to join a coach training program, you should choose an approved coach training provider. That's their higher level of training provider. Again, we are going to give you the easiest path to apply to the ICF. As I've said before, even if you're going for the ACC first, the extra training hours are usually, getting those extra training hours, only 30, is usually faster than going through their other paths because you don't have to submit a recording or jump through other hoops or accumulate a lot of different transcripts. And you can always upgrade later to the PCC without paying us more for training. Your training's done. You just have to get the experience hours. And so here's where we're different from other programs, okay? We go way beyond the requirements of the ICF designations. And what we're trying to do is have you actually succeed in the marketplace. Okay, And I'll talk to you about that more. I'll even show you our member area. But just so we're all clear, here's how you accumulate 100 live training hours with us. We have live webinars. You can choose from among 2 cycles of 3 webinars weekly. And in fact, those cycles are staggered, so you could actually get on 6. They're via Zoom, they're interactive, they're live. You go at your pace. You choose how many to attend and when, and you can join us anytime. What happens is we give you some foundational work to do in your member area, and then you can jump in. Each class is different because we teach via small modules. For instance, we might teach a week on how do you coach a client who's having issues engaging employees, right? How do you coach a client who has conflict? How do you coach a client who wants to create a high performance culture? And so each class stands on its own. It's more like a circle, our curriculum, than a line. But now is a great time to join because we're starting up a new cycle. Part of your training includes review of coaching conversations. So in addition to the mentor coaching, you can submit, if you wish, up to 6 coaching conversations to me directly, and I'll review them with you. When I review them, I'm looking both at the ICF core competencies, the BCC core competencies, but also, would I hire you or refer you as a coach? Are you getting results? Many other programs don't do this. They don't think about coaching in these terms. They're so focused on core competencies that they forget that there's a client with very demanding expectations. We want to make sure you coach that client to success. You also need 10 hours of ICF mentor coaching. That happens in parallel. Per ICF rules, it takes place over 3 months, even though it's only 10 hours, with a cohort of no more than 10. So you'll be one of 10 participants. Takes place over 4 or 5 meetings. Basically, you get on, you coach to the ICF core competencies. And finally, if you want to accelerate your time even more, we have a 3-day seminar, right? They are, right now, they're all virtual. At some point, we might go back to live. They're working beautifully. They're incredibly efficient. People love them. We can break you out into groups to practice coaching. We can jump in. It's much different than having to track you down at the pool of a hotel, and you don't have to pay the travel costs and deal with the hassle of travel. So you can add that. That's an additional $2,500 to get. Okay, so it's pretty easy to get these 100 live training hours. You can do it anywhere from 5 to 8 months if you're diligent, depending on whether you attend a seminar or not. So let me explain why the Center for Executive Coaching is different. And here you can see yet another testimonial. By the way, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I think there's over 250 recommendations from members. So you can read what they have to say. You'll see that under testimonials on our website as well. So here's a 4-time Olympian. We've had assistant and coaches from professional sports teams like the NBA, in fact, one who won the championship. We've had elite athletes. We've had coaches of collegiate level, basketball, volleyball, football teams. There's just one type of professional who comes to us, but in general, the people who come to us are already successful, returning military leaders, executives, C-suite executives, senior leaders, HR executives, published authors, consultants, coaches who want to deepen their toolkits. So anyway, every ICF ACTP has to, by ICF rules, offer some of the same stuff, right? They're going to teach you the core competencies. They're probably not all, but they're probably going to give you a cohort with whom to practice coaching. They're certainly going to give you hours towards an ICF designation, and they're going to have the required mentor coaching if they're an ACTP. You know, to me, that's not much different than wanting to be a race car driver and going to the DMV for your driver's test, right? It's a certificate, as you can see here, not great, not terrible. This is necessary, perhaps, in some markets, but not sufficient for true success. The people who join us typically have aspirations to develop a practice or be successful as an internal coach. It's as simple as that. They don't want to tolerate all the time it takes in an academic program. They certainly won't tolerate the fluff that you get in some of these life coaching programs. They want to be in the top percentage of coaches worldwide. And so what we're designed to do is deliver value, unmatched value, and significant measurable results for our members and their clients, right? You don't hear the word clients or value mentioned in a lot of coach training programs, and that drives me nuts. It's wrong. No other professional service gets away with it. Too often you see coach training programs that are about their own philosophy. You know, they're more like evangelists selling a religion about something or other instead of looking at what does our client want, how do we get them results? And of course, by the end of our program, we expect that you're going to feel confident, excited, energized, passionate about what you do. So that's our goal. So how do we get you there? First, real life coaching cases and data. All right, we use real data. For instance, when we share with you how to do a proper 360 verbal assessment with a client, we have cases of actual coach clients, my own clients, with scrubbed data of what their 360 looks like. And we say, so where do we go from here? How do we present these findings to the client? How do we create a coaching plan to make sure they get the results they want? Same thing, real off-the-shelf assessments. These are top-tier off-the-shelf assessments already in your member area. We have almost a survey course of the top assessments. We have executed coaching contracts, real ones, true coaching plans. We give you an example of an actual coaching review document that you can use as a template to present findings and track progress with sponsors and with your clients. And when we practice, we're practice real coaching with our executive level members and as case studies. Okay, so we're focused on real life, practical, applied. 2, you get with us, and I don't know that any other training program offers anything like this, you get existing methodologies and coaching solutions. These have been proven in 32 countries around the world with about 2,500 coaches using them to get results and bring value. They're focused on the top challenges clients have. As soon as you join, you can log in and use them. It's a just-in-time library you have of coaching methodologies, tools, distinctions, and solutions. They also serve as a great source for you to give talks, write articles, and ultimately build on them to develop your own intellectual property. We're very generous with the use of our content. They're all grounded in the best practices of psychology, neuroscience, emotional intelligence, and leadership, right? So we aren't pushing an inflexible philosophy with a bunch of jargon and buzzwords. We won't do that, right? We find the best practices for particular situations. We're eclectic, we're situational. And what these do is cover the key areas of inquiry or conversations to have with clients to make sure you are having robust, deep, and thorough discussions, that you're not a vapid, superficial coach just asking the same 3 questions over and over again. Here's some examples. I think what I want to do, let me just show you our website, our member area. Let's see. Here we go. So when you join our member area, first you see this match with other CEC coaches. But over here are our coaching solutions. You know, so you have an ongoing just-in-time library of solutions. So let's see. Here you can see them all. Leadership presence, coaching on the personal domains, engaging employees, resolving conflict, a lot about relationships up, down, and across, team coaching, strategic planning, coaching clients to lead change, succession planning, service excellence. We have a whole bundle or set of modules on career coaching, as well as coaching the growing business. So for instance, let's see, influence conversations, flexibility, and impact. So if you click that, you're going to see an executive summary of the methodology. There's going to be a slide deck if you want to give a presentation or facilitate or do a training. And then there's typically a 40 to 60 page methodology right there that gives you the methodology. And already there, this is, you know, again, we have live webinars. We have enough live webinars to get you the 100 hours that you need. But you'll see here, there's 3 hours of existing webinars. So if you have a client right now that could benefit from this, you can go right in and it's already there for you, okay? So again, that's just one of the things that sets us apart. Nobody has this level of content or solutions, okay? Next, you're going to get, if you're an external coach or even if you're an internal coach, you need to know how to do business development. There's a lot of coaches out there, but there aren't a lot of great coaches out there, and there certainly aren't a lot of coaches out there who know how to market. We're going to show you how. In your member area, we have hours and hours and hours of webinars, as well as tools to help you set yourself apart and attract clients. We have clinics on conversations to close engagements, essentially how to sell without selling, how to coach the client through the buying process, how to pick a niche, how to develop a compelling marketing message with real examples of before and after. I've rewritten some of our members' marketing messages, and I'll work with you one-on-one if you send me your marketing message in Word. By the way, when you join, again, no other program does that. We talk about how to get visible, both online and old school marketing, how to extend engagements. So it's basically one-on-one support whenever you wish, along with tools, guides, templates, and webinars, including some micro-learning webinars, like little 5-minute packets that tell you, here's what you have to focus on for this topic. So you get great marketing support. The participants in our program are second to none, right? It's just, we attract a different crowd. Current retired executives, HR leaders, entrepreneurs, successful consultants, speakers, writers, psychologists, physicians, attorneys, highly educated professionals, returned military leaders, and as I said, professional and elite athletes and coaches. And you can see the organization, these are just some of the organizations our members work with or have worked with, so that you get a sense of what we're talking about here. Okay, these are the types of professionals we're trying to attract. Unlike other programs that take anyone with a pulse, we do not. Okay, I can tell very quickly with a conversation, as will you. You'll know if it's a fit too if we have a conversation to see. Another reason to join us is we're here to open new doors for you. Okay, so we don't want you to be just a commodity coach. Other programs teach you commodity coaching stuff. We want you to be a trusted strategic advisor who addresses many challenges for your clients, so you have clients over the long term. We also want to show you how to have multiple openings to attract clients, right? Maybe coaching is all you want to do, that's fine. Maybe you want to add assessments, we show you how. Maybe you want to facilitate, maybe you want to train. There are many ways to get your foot in the door. In my own practice, you know, sometimes an engagement starts with a leadership retreat and then leads to coaching. Sometimes it starts with an assessment. Sometimes it starts with coaching, with one-on-one coaching. We're also going to show you how to create passive income if you want. This is a great time to do it. As things move online, you have a great opportunity to create online programs. Books are always a hot topic. I've written 16 of them, some published with publishers, some self-published, some hybrid. So I'm an expert on how to do that. Speaking and maybe building a firm with other coaches under you. We show you how to do this. You get lifetime support with us. No other program, as far as I know, does this. You are always a member. We call you a member, not a student. Most of our members are past the point of needing to be called students, right? So you can always ask for support. I love it. I get emails and we set up calls with members from 7, 8, 9 years ago who are trying a new marketing tactic or have a tricky situation with a client or want to take their business to the next level, or are internal coaches and want to become external coaches. You can always join our webinars. You always have access to your member area. You know, it's a matter of pride. We're here to support you to succeed. It's not about checking a box, training you, and getting rid of you. And I feel like some of the other training companies just are that way. So what you receive, you can read our website, but you know, just briefly, you get our proprietary manual and textbook, The Way to Coach Leaders, Executives, and Managers. We have 1-hour webinars, as I shared, in 2 cycles of 3, but they're staggered, so you can get onto as many as 6 hours of webinars if you're ambitious. Most people choose 1 cycle of 3, and even if you just got on 1 webinar every week, you'd be okay. You get a huge member area. I just showed you some of it. Coaching contracts and forms, actual assessments. You'll even take an industry-leading assessment and review it. Our belief is that you want to go with a third-party assessment firm. Those are the ones that have the brand name assessments. You want to get certified in at least one. We talk you through how to do that and give you a great overview so you know which ones might be best for you. Our program includes our business development intensive program, essentially how to attract clients, as I said before, one-on-one support anytime you need it directly from me, as well as our other faculty members, right? So this isn't one of these massive programs where you're working with somebody who may or may not be a successful coach. This is a boutique program, personalized. We match you up with fellow members to practice coaching, and you can receive a number of certifications with us, okay? Our core program before the ICF gets you our Certified Executive Coach certification. You can also get the career coaching certification and business coaching certification with just a little bit more work. No extra cost. The content is there for you. Many of our members also do a little bit of research in a niche about a specific problem, like a problem technology leaders face. We've had a number recently do some research on diversity and inclusion and how coaching might help. And you can get a specialty certification like technology leadership coach or nonprofit leadership coach just by doing that. And then of course, all of our programs include the board certified coach training. The ICF ACTP is a little bit extra, okay? Just pricing briefly, you can go on our website, as I said, and I'll show you our website now. And then I'll take questions, okay? But so here's our member area. It includes, by the way, master facilitator program as a bonus. If facilitation is your thing, there's a whole series of webinars about how to be a great facilitator. We'll even certify you as a master facilitator, okay? Here's attract clients. I just wanted to show you that before we move to the next category. But you could see, I mean, there's just a ton of content over, I would estimate about 25 hours of content along with business development guides and marketing message, sample sales questions, and some rewritten marketing content. But the reason I'm here is to take you to our website, okay? So if you just click Get Certified, and you might start with our online certification and scroll down the page, you'll see our pricing and so forth, okay? So that's all there. But let me go back before I take questions and just talk to you about the reason I bring this up is, one of the things we've done is modularize our program so that you can get in for the budget that fits you. If you're not sure you want the ICF yet, the BCC is included with this, but if you don't think the ICF is the thing for you, you don't have to decide now. You can get our Certified Executive Coach certification through distance learning. You just join our webinars. You can go at your pace. We're not as concerned about whether you join us live or not. You're going to submit 6 recordings of your coaching, and I'll review that with you. There's up to 90 hours of content, and you can accumulate that towards the ICF and choose to add that later. And if you wish, again, when you add that, you can get the full ICF training. You just need 10 hours more. Okay, right now that's $2,500 more. Our distance learning, you can pay over 10 months of $500 or add $2,500 more for the ICF. You can add a seminar. Our next seminar is in February. You can check our webpage for when the dates are if you're listening to a recording. It probably isn't going to be in February anymore, so take a look. And you get our certification over 3 days and still have access to our distance learning. Again, because most of our members have coached and developed people over their career, that's about all they want to do. They don't want to keep coming back to a university program to read textbooks and study theory. They know the theory. They want to apply it and get results. All of these programs include the BCC. And listen, I know that times can be tough. We have been known to stretch payments out beyond 10 months as long as you make that first payment in full. We can talk about that if you're on an entrepreneurial budget, okay? So again, here's another testimonial. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or just look at testimonials on our webpage. Here's the next steps, and then I'll pause recording and take as many questions as you have about the ICF or our program. But if you're interested, the next step, go to our website, right? centerforexecutivecoaching.com. You'll see it's easy to set up a meeting. You can just email me directly. My personal cell phone is there. My email is there as well as the company's email. And let's just have a conversation. You could certainly join if you already know that this is a fit. I typically like to review somebody's background first. We're not going to put you through a big, frustrating application process. Again, our members have already been through enough application processes, but we'll know pretty quickly if it's a fit or not. It's just, do you have a track record of leadership or academic success? Do you have the passion? And, are you a good listener? And are you passionate about helping people be the best? Okay, so essentially that's the next steps. Let me pause recording and I'll take as many questions as you have.